Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. One of the things that I've been taught working a program of recovery, for me, that program is AA, is that it's important to move away from selfish thinking and to try to think of other people. And I had a opportunity to struggle with that a little bit this morning. I have an event that I was supposed to go to, recovery related event today that I've been looking forward to for a long time. I've got some friends speaking there, some friends who are putting it on. I've been very excited about this, but my wife has been sick all week. And last night, before I went to bed, I started feeling like maybe I was catching whatever it is that she had. And woke up this morning and felt pretty bad, and clearly have whatever it is she had, probably a cold, something like that. In my addiction, I would have, the weird thing is, I would have used that, I would have been excited to be sick, because in my addiction, anytime I had any kind of event that I had to go to socialize at, I would look for any excuse to get out of it. And so being sick would have given me a great excuse to get out of that event. And so I would have been happy to be sick. In my recovery, it's very different. And it put me in a weird state of mind this morning, because I was having a hard time figuring out what the right thing was to do, because I genuinely want to go to this event. I don't feel bad enough that I feel like I have to lay in bed all day, although I'll probably end up doing that because I don't feel great. But I could still go. But the problem was, I started thinking about, should I go and potentially spread this around to other people, or would it be better for me to stay home and not risk that? And every reason I could come up with to go to this event came back to me acting out of self and doing something out of self. The reasons, the biggest reason was it's something that I really want to do. Well, it's kind of selfish for me to say, you know what, I'm not going to worry about putting other people at risk. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. That's the definition of selfishness. So I couldn't use that as a reason. Then another reason that came up was starting to get worried about what other people would think of me if I didn't show up at this event. And maybe they would think that, I was looking for an excuse to get out of it like I used to do. Maybe I was looking for just being lazy. And I started to worry, well, what are other people going to think of me? Well, again, that comes back to selfishness, and it comes back to ego. More than likely, other people aren't going to think much about my absence at this event at all. I didn't have any obligation to go. I wasn't supposed to help with doing anything. And there's going to be a lot of other people there. So there might be some people who notice I'm not there, but they're probably going to think about it for a couple seconds, and then that's it. So the other thing is that one of the things that I've been really trying to do in my recovery is avoid worrying about what other people think of me. That's not, I shouldn't base my decisions on what other people think of me. I should base my decisions on what I think is the right thing to do. And what I think the right thing to do is that, especially given what we've learned during the pandemic, is that when you're sick with something that other people could catch from you, stay home if you can, because it's possible I could go to this event and give this illness to somebody who, I'm lucky. I work from home. If I'm still sick on Monday, I can still go to work. It's not a big deal. I get to do it from the comfort of my house. but other people don't have that luxury. This event is also an event that's going to be attended by people who are currently living in sober homes, living in residential treatment centers, where, if someone got sick and took it back to one of those places, then everybody could get sick, and it could potentially impact someone's experience, especially at a treatment center. I know from my time in a treatment center that had I spent a significant portion of that time sick, it would have affected the way that I was able to get things out of it. So I'm not trying to overthink it, and yet when I'm thinking through things, I have to realize that my actions have an ability to impact other people. To simplify it, I had to go talk to my wife and tell her everything I was thinking and say, at the end of the day, I got to go back to my idea of, when you're sick with something that you can pass on to other people, just don't go out unless you really have to. I've got one thing that I've got to do in public tomorrow that I have no choice. I've got to go. But this was an event that, it's something that I can potentially stay home from. It's not the end of the world if I stay home. And given that other people might suffer if I pass something on to them, it makes more sense for me to do that. The reason I went through all this today is that it's just an example of the way that my thinking has changed during my recovery, and the kinds of questions and things that come up on a pretty regular basis as I'm going through. And it was really important for me, when I found myself struggling with this, to talk to someone else about it, get their opinion. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to make this out to be some life or death situation, because it's not. This is just a cold. But when you are used to making decisions completely based off of your own self-interest, which is a lot of us who are in recovery used to be that way in our active addictions, sometimes it can be challenging and overwhelming to try to make decisions now in the interest of other people. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help thinking through it. That's what I had to do this morning to arrive at the conclusion that, yeah, in general, I'm sick. I know I can pass it on to other people because I got this from my wife, and I probably shouldn't go out unless it's absolutely necessary. It's disappointing, and yeah, I got to face the fact that there may be people who think I'm just, avoiding going out and isolating, and that's okay. It's okay for people to think things about me that might not be accurate. That's, as other people have put it in my recovery, it's none of my business what other people think of me. I just have to do what I think is the right thing to do. I got to base the right thing on interests that expand outside of my own self-interest. And as long as I'm doing that, hey, I'm making some kind of progress, because that is a lot different than the way I used to do things in life. That's it for today. Hope you have a good one. I'll be back here tomorrow with more.